Hi, Emmeline here. This is going to be my April book haul. I'm going to try to make it quick because I have around 32 books. I'm going to justify that by saying that it was because I was on vacation, and while I was on vacation I bought a lot of books, but, either way I was going to buy a lot of books. So, I have multiple different stacks, and I'm just going to try to get through them real quick. Here I have Love and Ruin by Paula McLean. This is a historical adult historical fiction, and they're usually kind of romance driven, I believe. I've never read any of her books before, and she's kind of an established author, but this one I think is in the point of view of Ernest Hemingway's wife, and I don't know, I'm not sure if this is going to be something that I'm really into or just something that's not for me, but I started reading it and the writing was really pretty, so I decided to pick it up. And this one comes out April 1st. Wait, so is it already out? May 1st. Okay. And I have one other one. And this is called The Good Son. I'm not sure how to pronounce the author's name, but it is there. And this takes place in Seoul, so it's a primarily Asian cast of characters. And it's a psychological thriller about a boy who wakes up next to his dead mother's body. And he doesn't know how she got there, and the last thing he can remember is just her screaming his name. And he doesn't know if it's because she was screaming from fear because he killed her, or because she was trying to get him to help her. And he's just trying to figure out what's going on. It's really short for a thriller, so I'm excited to read it. It has a note from the author in it, and it comes out June 5th. And those are my arcs. Next I have probably more than usual a lot of dollar store books. So all of these are from Dollar Tree. This one is called In Some Other World Maybe by Shari Goldhagen, and this is, I think, it would be classified as adult based off the writing, but the main characters are teenagers, and it's about a group of friends that go to this, a group of teenagers who go to this movie theater to watch this kind of superhero, kind of Marvel-esque movie, and then they all become friends within that. Is what I got from it, and it was $1, and it sounded down my alley, so I got that. The next one has a terrible cover. It's called Coffee House Angel by Suzanne Selfers, but a lot of this author's books, like she's also the author of Saving Juliet, sound interesting to me. This one is about a guy who is like homeless, and he's hanging outside of this coffee house that this girl works at, that her family runs, and she is nice to him and she helps him out, and kind of to pay her back for her good deed, it turns out that he is like an angel, and he wants to give her like a favor or something, I believe, in return for her good deed. And yeah, the cover is awful, but the plot sounds really good. I started reading it in the store, and it sounds kind of cheesy, but, like, fun. And it'll finally help me know if this author's for me or not, so that's a thing. The next one here I have is called Vanished by E.E. Cooper. The only things that I know about this is it's YA. It is a mystery thriller, and it is starring queer main characters. I don't know if the main character is a lesbian or if she's bisexual, but she is interested in another girl, which was my main selling factor on this, so yes. Next here, I have Boy 21 by Matthew Quick. I have one other book by Matthew Quick, Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock, and I still haven't read it yet, but this one, it's focusing on this relationship between these two boys. I'm not sure, people say that it kind of borders on, like, we're not sure if it's just a really strong male friendship or if they have some sort of romantic implications going on, but it's a contemporary YA just about life, and I've seen really good reviews on Goodreads saying that it's one of those kind of like contemporaries that really hits you and, makes you think about life and stuff. So it was short, it was $1, and if I don't like it, I can get rid of it. Next here, I have by Stephen King, The Song of Susanna. I was surprised to find a Stephen King book at the dollar store. I've never seen one before. And so I picked it up because it's one that I still don't have in my collection yet. It is the 6th book in the Dark Tower series, and it's probably my favorite title of any of Stephen King's books. I love the title for this. I haven't gotten through the Dark Tower series yet, but I'm slowly starting to collect them, and then I can kind of just marathon through them. So I have this, and I was excited about that. Next year, I have Will Not Attend by Adam Resnick. It says lively stories of detachment and isolation. This is a nonfiction, kind of mental, like, psyche book checking into people who have disassociation and kind of like, you know, being like, it's weird to describe if you don't know what disassociation is, but it's something that I've dealt with before, and I wanted to see it in kind of a memoir book form, and it was $1. So actually, oddly enough, a nonfiction that I'm excited to pick up because I don't generally read nonfiction, but it's here, and I might read it for Mental Health Awareness Month that's coming up later, I believe. And the next 3 are for this kind of themed video that I plan on doing later in life, maybe sometime next month. So I'm not going to go too deep into it to kind of explain all that in a later video, so I don't know what any of these are about. But this is Trouble from the Start by Rachel Hawthorne. What else? The Good Sister by Jamie Kane. And Sweet Damage by Rebecca James. Again, it'll make sense in the future. And yeah, I think those are all the Dollar Tree books. But then here, I have like many stacks all around me. I have books that I got from either Goodwill or one of them is from my store, but that I spent either $1 or less on. So this one is a Star Wars Clone Wars book called The Holocron Heist, and it has like pictures in it and stuff, and I pick up anything that has Ahsoka in it and that is Star Wars. And this was at Goodwill for about $1, I believe, because the kids' books are quarters, so I picked it up. And other ones that I got from Goodwill are The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I believe this was like $1. So this is a thriller that I've heard really mixed reviews about, but I want to get more into thrillers because the very few that I have read I've really enjoyed, and it can also help as research because, you know, I'm writing a thriller. This next one, obviously I've read already, and it is Twilight Breaking Dawn by Stephenie Meyer, the 4th book in the Twilight Saga. I'm collecting, I have them in the original covers with like the apple and the feather and all that stuff, but I'm collecting these mass market paperbacks of the movie covers to annotate them. And I've done that recently with New Moon, and I read that, and I believe somewhere in storage I have a Twilight copy, so this was like $1 at Goodwill, and I just need to pick up Eclipse, which is cheap at my store, so eventually I will get that to have the whole series. Next year is another one that I've already read, and I got it at my store, and it was around 80 cents, I think. I collect the Collins Classics of books, and this is A Midsummer Night Dream. I have already a copy of it somewhere in storage, but I adore this cover, and I love this story. I've read it a couple years ago, and yeah, that's about it. So, and then this last one here was $1 at my store, so I believe I paid like 70-80 cents again. And this is Strange Deaths, More Than 375 Freakish Fatalities by Ian Simmons. This is another nonfiction book that I flipped open, and it just has weird deaths, and in the back it has references that connect to it if you want to learn more about a specific like death that was in the news or something that sounds weird. I'm actually currently reading this. I'm about halfway through, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's a thing. Yeah. Now books that I got at my store, because I buy way too many at my store. This first one here, I justified buying it because, first of all, I've wanted it for years, and either way I was going to buy it as soon as I seen that we got it in. But April is also National Poetry Month, so I wanted to buy some poetry, and this is I Wrote This For You and Only You by Please Find This. I've wanted this. This is the first book that I ever put on my book wish list board on Pinterest, so I've wanted this for a long time, and I'm excited to finally have it. This is a book of like modern-esque poetry that has also lots of photography and stuff in it, which is mainly the kind of poetry I'm into. I'm not super sold on like classic poetry. The next one here still has the receipt in it. And this is the Twisted Ones. It is the second book in the Five Nights at Freddy's like book series by Scott Cawthorn, the creator of the games, and Kira Breed Risley, I think is how you pronounce this. Story behind this, I have the first book. I haven't read it yet. I really need to. It's on my list of top books that I need to read this year. And even though this copy is a little beat up, I started seeing that they made a line of pop vinyls based off of the book, and it kind of excited me because I've never seen that before. Like, I've seen, like, there's Harry Potter pops, but those are based off of how they look like in the films and stuff. I've never seen just them making pop vinyls based off book descriptions of characters, and it got me excited, so I picked up the book. I want to read the book. There's, like, a whole minor fandom just for these books in comparison to the games, and, I mean, I'm excited to get into it because I love Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes. Now I have another nonfiction, because apparently this was like the month for that. This is On Writing Well by William Zessner. My coworker, Dara, she seen this. It was $2, and she put it aside for me because she knows that I collect/read writing books for research purposes because I write. So, I'm excited to get to this one. I'll probably get it. If I read it this year, I'll get to it later in the year when it gets closer to NaNoWriMo. This is here. And this last one that I have in this stack, even though there is more that I picked up at my store over there, is Identical by Ellen Hopkins. This is for a long time it was my favorite Ellen Hopkins book, and then after I read Rumble it became my second favorite. But I collect and read as many Ellen Hopkins books as I can get, and I was really excited to find this one. This one is great. I read it a long time ago and I need to read it again. And my mom also wanted to read it, so now it's in the house. And yes, excited about that one. And these are the last few that I got like cheap at my store because they're trade-ins. This one is another Ellen Hopkins one. This is Traffic. It is the sequel and I believe the last book in the Tricks duology. I have read the first one, and I really loved it, so I got the second one. Here, I have Darker by E.L. James. Yeah. This is the second book in the trilogy that she's writing that are the 50 Shades of Grey books in Christian's point of view. I have the trilogy and have read the trilogy and really loved it. I have Grey, I haven't read that yet, but this was $2 at my store, and I freaked out and bought it, because 50 Shades Darker is my favorite in the series. I think I've mentioned that before, and I want, like, there's lots, these make sense to me, like, lots of people get frustrated with the same book, but in a different character point of view, but there's lots of moments in the 50 Shades trilogy where they're not together, and they're doing their own thing, and you never really know what Christian is doing in those moments, and there's a lot that happens that's all intense and stuff in Darker, where he is separated from her, and it's valid, and I'm excited to read those. And the last one that I have here, I think I paid like $4 for, is Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Barshroust. I don't know. But this is a book that I heard a lot of people talking about when it first came out. I believe it came out in January of this year. It's a YA fantasy novel, and it wasn't one that I was particularly interested in, and then it was basically kind of marketed as a queer Snow White with a strong focus on female relationships such as friendships and family relationships, and it just sounds like a feminist gay Snow White, and so I picked it up. I love this cover, and next month there is the readathon that Lala is doing where you read books that have the word girl in the title, so I plan on reading this next month, and I'm excited for it. Next is a very small stack, it's 4 books, of books that I actually bought full price, because I don't really do that. I only buy books from my store because they're traded in, and they're like half the price that you would normally get them. I buy from Dollar Tree, or I pick up free ARCs. So, mainly, I go for the cheapest I can find a book, but these were a few that I just couldn't help myself. This one is It Looks Like This by Rafi Mittelfindelt. We'll go with that. This is a book that I got at Target, and I seen the cover, and I was like hanging out with my mom, and I'm like, you know what, that looks gay, and guess what? It is. This is kind of more of a gay middle grade, and I flipped around through some pages and read some scenes, and I was like, I think this is something that I would be into, and I might read it for Pride. There's lots of things I plan on reading for Pride, though, so we'll see if I get to it, but it's here. And then the other one that I got from Target, full price, besides the percentage that Target naturally gives off, is Star Wars The Last Jedi by Jason Fry. I'm collecting the novelizations of all the Star Wars movies. I'm collecting both the adult and the kid ones, and this I've heard so many good things about. Like, I haven't even really heard anyone read the other, like, adult adaptations of the books, but this one everyone has been reading, and even people who weren't into The Last Jedi are into this book. There's lots of added content and scenes that aren't in the movies, and I needed this, and it really bothered me that I didn't own it, even though I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I think I'm going to read Before the Awakening, which is the prequel to The Force Awakens that Greg Rucka wrote, and then read the novelization for The Force Awakens, and then read this one. But I needed it in my life, and now I have it. And then the other ones that I got full price, but I got them for my job, and this one is probably the last book that I bought this month, and that is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. This is one of my most anticipated releases of this entire year. This is the sequel. People kind of have debates on that because people say that The Upside of Unrequited is kind of like the sequel, but they're all kind of in the same universe as Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. Last year, I read both of Becky Albertalli's books, Simon and Upside of Unrequited, and I love Leah. She's a plus-size bisexual queen slaying her life, so this is probably, as soon as I finish the 3 books that I'm in the middle of, this is the first thing I'm picking up, because I've been just waiting for it. Everyone is saying it's perfect, and you can see so many Simon and Blue scenes, and yeah, I need this. It's gorgeous, and I don't know. I'm really happy that I have that now, and I keep wanting to pick it up, and I'm like, no, I need to finish the things I'm in the middle of. This next one here is one of the most gorgeous covers that has been released this year, and that is Tyler Johnson Was Here by J. Coles. This is kind of, people call it kind of a very similar vibe to The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. I haven't read The Hate U Give. I own it. But this is about a guy who goes with his, I don't know if he's his twin brother or just his brother, but he goes with his brother to this party, and his brother leaves and never comes back, and it turns out that he was murdered, and he was killed by a police officer. So that's how it's very similar vibes to Angie Thomas, kind of like the Black Lives Matter movement, and it's such a beautiful cover. I needed it as soon as I seen it, even if I didn't know what it was about, but it also seems like something I'd be really interested in. And these last 6 or 7 books are the ones that I got on vacation. This first one here was the first one I got there. It was at Walmart, and it was full price, but I was in the mood to spend money, and I was on vacation. I'm like, oh, why not? This is Star Wars, Forces of Destiny, Tales of Hope and Courage, as told by Maz Kanata. I have lots of Forces of Destiny stuff, and this is just gorgeous, and I love anything that focuses on the ladies of Star Wars. And there's also like an illustration here of Ahsoka meditating, and I'm definitely getting a tattoo of it. So these are fun, they're sweet, they're cute, and the art is gorgeous, so I needed it. Did I need to spend full price? No, but, now I own it, and it's there. These next 3 I got at, Second and Charles. I work at Second and Charles, but the one that we visited in Florida had different things than what we have, and so I bought 3 books there. This first one here is Nemesis by Brendan Reichs. This is a book that lots of people were talking about a couple years ago, and recently people have been talking about how the sequel is coming out. This is about this girl who every year on her birthday gets murdered by this guy, and then wakes up somewhere like in a field or something, as though it didn't happen, but she's kind of trying to like prevent it from happening again now that it's coming up to be her birthday. And yes, I have that. This one was one that I was actually going to buy on ebook because I couldn't find it anywhere, and I hate online shopping. It's Does My Head Look Big in This by Rhonda. I don't want to butcher the last name, but it's there. This is a YA contemporary book about a hijabi teen. That's all I know, and that's all I really want to know going into this. But it's here. It was like $4 because I still got to use my discount, even though it was the Florida store. It was really cool. And then the last one I have here is How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake. Lots of people talk about this author and this book, and I was never interested in it until I heard that it was basically kind of the quintessential happy bisexual girls falling in love novel that everyone needs, and I was like, it's $3, so I bought it. And these last 3 I got at a Books A Million that we went to when we were on vacation, which I was also allowed to use my discount at. I didn't know if I'd be able to, but I could, and it was really exciting. The first one I have here is The X-Files Origins Agents of Chaos by Kami Garcia. Kami Garcia and Jonathan Maberry did books that are YA books about when Mulder and Scully were kids. And it's interesting because Kami, the kind of female of the duo, is writing about Mulder, and Jonathan's writing about Scully, so it's kind of the opposites. But obviously I needed the one about Mulder. They had both of them there, but I was trying to control myself, so I only got one of the 2. And yes, I'm excited to read this. The next one is one that I've been wanting to buy for a couple months now, and then they had it in hardcover for about $5, so I spent like $3. And that is The Blackbirds by Eric Jerome Dickey. Eric Jerome Dickey is one of my favorite authors. I've read a lot of his books. He writes adult contemporary romance books, and I believe this one is about a woman who is dying and kind of going through a bucket list, I think. And this cover is gorgeous, and I needed it. And this last one is one that I've been wanting for a couple years, ever since it came out, because it's gorgeous and beautiful. And now it's going to kind of match my Harry Potter illustrated books, and that is Percy Jackson's Greek Gods by Rick Riordan. It's gorgeous. And they started releasing the ones that were like kind of like a paperback book that looks kind of like the size of this, but they don't have the pictures. And that's the main appeal, and I like that it's like huge and beautiful, and it has like these very nice like watercolor looking illustrations. And it's kind of ancient Greek mythology stories told from Percy Jackson's point of view. So yes, I have that. And that's about it. This video is long because all of my hauls are long because there are usually lots of books. But if you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you would like to see more of like my face and my books and all that. Bye!